Hi, good morning. My name's Andrew Robb-McLeod, and if I know you, then hi. Hope you're okay. I'm gonna try this for a little bit to see if it works. If it doesn't, then at least we've tried it. So I'll be putting out a series of these to so you can do home learning basically, and so you get something out of it, and I'm also doing something so I don't go insane. So, the point of RMPS is to widen your religious, moral, and philosophical understandings of the wider world. And of course, I'm going to argue it's important, but I'd actually say even more so now that it's that little bit more important to try and keep our minds thinking, to try and keep our minds active, so that when we are being bombarded every single day with information, that we're able to sift through that and figure out which information is useful to us in our daily lives and which information is trying to trick us to think one thing or the other thing. That so yeah. This is the School of Athens painting by Raphael. It's on one of the walls in the Apostolic Church in Vatican City. And every single person on here is a notable philosopher. Plato and Aristotle being famously in the middle, Plato being the one going like that, and Aristotle being like that. Both actions referring to their individual philosophies and sort of how they view the wider world. What I'd like to do is I would actually quite like to choose a few of these over the next few days, weeks, etc., and kind of explore them with you so that you have a good understanding of who the philosopher is and what the philosophy is itself. That and more importantly, as it all should be with learning philosophy, how is it relevant to our lives just now? How does it help us interpret the world? How does it help us interpret ourselves and place of the world? That and hopefully that you'll get something out of it. So the first philosopher that I want to choose is Diogenes the Cynic. Diogenes is actually one of my favourite philosophers, mainly because of his constant little one-liners and his I don't know, his general demeanour and how his approach to try and deconstruct society and to make the world a fairer place because of what had happened to him. And I'll get to that in a little second. He was born in Sinope around 404 BC. That's a wee bit, because there's not a lot of accurate information, but that doesn't really matter. So Sinope is in northern Turkey. Sorry about that. Where he lived as well had a large Athenian population, mainly because of migration from Athens to these parts of the world. And so there was Athenian democracy and civilization established at this northern part of the Turkish country. It wasn't called Turkey; it was Asia Minor at the time. He worked in the mint with his dad. And one day there was a problem with one of the coins, and someone thought that he tampered with the minting press, and so him and his dad were both arrested. He was able to escape jail, and I couldn't find a lot of information about how he did that, but his dad didn't, and his dad died in jail. But he fled back to Athens, and before he went to Pythia to speak to the oracle. Now, the oracles in ancient Greece were able to see the future, and they would tell the future. So they made prophecies about what would happen. Now you'd have to appease the oracles as well to try and get them to predict things in your kind of benefit. What the oracle said to him was deface the currency. Now this time that Diogenes didn't take this to be a literal instruction, he took it to be a metaphorical instruction. So he wanted to deconstruct the currency of society and what we valued within society and how we passed things to and from each other, and try to find some real value in how we live. He was sitting one day having a meal, and there was a little mouse kind of crawling past him trying to get a few crumbs, and he thought to himself, if a few crumbs is good enough for the mouse, then it's good enough for Diogenes. And he started an aesthetic living. This is where that you don't have a lot of goods, possessions round about you, and you only eat and drink, etc., what you can find around you. And it quickly became known as the dog philosophy, mainly because people round about him started referring to him as a dog because of his appearance and how he would interact with them. He said many, many things, and this is what I want us to look at today. Yeah. So this is the picture that's quite famous of Diogenes. This thing here you can see is not a barrel, it's like a giant pot, earthenware, whatever. And dogs round about him, not because he was a fan, but because that what he was referred to. The lamp is really important, mainly because he used to walk about the town at night, during the day with this lamp, that people would ask him, what are you trying to do? And he's, I'm trying to find an honest man in Athens. He wanted to attack society and attack for the values that were placed in society. And I think that now, given what's happening round about us, this might be an interesting philosopher to kind of look at, and some of the ideas that he had. And the first one I'd like to look at is the foundation of every state is the education of its youth. And this is Diogenes saying this. So, do you agree that education is important? Do you agree that as a society we should be educating everyone? If not, why do you think we shouldn't be educating? What system would you have in place of that if you're going to go down that route? If yes, why do you think education is important? And I think most of you can come down this route. Some might go for not, but we'll deal with them separately. So consider this, that is education important because you get something at the end of it, a certificate that you can hold up and say, this is me? Or is education important for you now? Is it important because it changes you as a person now and what you value just now? Have a think between the two. Consider that, is it because what I get in 10, 15 years? Is it because what I get now? Or is it a little bit of both? I'd like to hear your views on this. Like, why do you think education is important? And more importantly, that what do you want to learn about? Within the religious, moral and philosophical context, that what kind of things would you want to know about whilst you're here? And we will see if we can put something together. Anyway, I'll try and post these often. I'm not sure. I'd like to do them every day, but I will try and do it every day, but let's kind of see how we go with this. You might also get bored of it, and we might not like it to do every day, so we'll see what kind of suggestions you put forward. We might go into some sort of investigations, or I was going to say group tasks there, but that's not what we should be doing. But anyway, put some thoughts underneath this comment bit, and I will kind of have a chat with you through the day. I hope you have a good day, stay safe, see you later.